Oh, let's have a think about whether we've got a braking distance of a couple of miles. Or
Yeah, well, it's very much like that in the wet.
And do I need to unclip and drag my shoes along the ground to affect any proper braking?
How soft is that grass verge? It's definitely a thought I have had once or twice.
Hi, welcome to Going Along with Cycling Weekly, the cycling podcast about all things ultra, bikepacking and adventure riding. And my name is Steve Shubsall, I'm your host, and with me is my co-host and ultra nice chap, Ian Toe. Hello, Ian.
Thank you very much. I am ultra nice.
You are ultra nice. And you've got an ultra nice jersey on, but we'll get to that later. We're also joined today by Pete Alfano, who is a frame builder. But before we get into that, Pete, I've got some quick fire questions that I fire at all our guests. So without further ado, what's the furthest you've ever ridden?
600 kilometres.
That's quite a long way. In one go?
Yep.
All right. What event was that?
That was an Audax Stockport way.
Okay. Nice. What's the longest you've gone with no sleep?
24 hours.
Okay, well, that's commendable.
On or off the bike?
On the bike.
On bike, okay.
24 hours on the bike.
We're not talking about clubs. We're not talking about, that long lost weekend in Magaluf.
Yeah, that's probably a story for another time.
Well, I'm quite happy to talk about it here. We don't have to talk about cycling.
So
what's your favourite piece of cycling-related equipment, excluding the bike itself?
Excluding the bike itself. Yeah. I love a bike wheel. I love wheels.
A wheel?
Wheels, yeah.
Any particular wheel?
Front or rear?
Rear hubs. I love a free hub.
You love a rear
hub?
hub?
Fascinated by, hubs.
This guy, we're going to have a good chat. He loves a free hub. I am largely indifferent to a free hub, but I like the noises they make.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like having gears.
Yeah, I also like having gears.
And being able to freewheel.
If you could only cycle in one country for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, quick fire. I'm going to go with Italy.
Italy?
Another Italian.
Another Italian job?
Italophile.
Whereabouts in Italy?
All over, anywhere, really.
Anywhere.
I'd be happy. Yeah, probably middle to north, slightly.
Right.
Surely not
more
Po Valley.
No, I was thinking more like Tuscany kind of.
Tuscany.
Yeah.
Toscana. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eroica kind of country.
I can't extol the virtues of Sardinia enough either. So it's not Italy proper, but they speak Italian there.
It's Italian.
Hotel or bivvy?
Bivvy.
Oh,
that was very quick.
At your age?
Yeah, at my age. Yeah.
Hey, he's younger than you.
Yeah, I know, but we're all 40s.
Yeah. It feels like more of an adventure in a bivvy.
Yeah, but it also feels a lot more uncomfortable.
There is. Yeah, I think there's some element of self-flagellation in staying in the bivvy for a couple. It makes you enjoy the hotel more.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's nice to, at the event end, nice deep bath in a hotel. With my last quick fire, what's your favourite meal deal?
Ooh. I would go for. Well, I'm gluten free, so it's a tricky one.
That is a tricky one.
It does make it quite difficult. So it'd be sushi.
Okay.
Sushi, an innocent smoothie, and
what
some
flavour?
kind of crisps. The pink one.
The pink one.
Is that the berry one?
Yeah.
Could be the same as Inigo.
Same as Inigo.
Yeah. So controversial sushi, but it does hit all the right food groups. So you got your carbs, you got your protein.
It's absolutely because of that I've chosen it, and not due to my lack of choice from my dietary restrictions. Yeah.
Good.
And what crisps?
Squares.
Oh,
Squares.
Yeah.
Flavour?
Salt and vinegar.
it was only a few weeks ago on this very podcast that I did a
you did the blinds.
I did a blind taste test.
Yeah.
And got a salt and vinegar square.
Yeah. And rated it 9 out of 10.
Rated it.
It is a high quality.
It's a high
It's a
quality
classic.
crisp. It's a stone cold.
I remember it from my childhood at school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the packets were different back then.
Were they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah.
When they see through.
No.
I feel like there might have been a window in them.
Yeah, but like a window. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
They've done away with windows and crisp, so now you can't really actually see what you're getting.
It
No,
probably had
more air than crisp now. But this could turn into a very long middle-aged man rant about crisp packet sizes.
Well, I mean,
Hey, middle-aged women like crisps too.
I know. I was just thinking about the three of us.
I'm not middle-aged. I'm young, and he's old. So yeah,
I'm only a little bit older than you.
quite considerably. You're pushing 60, aren't you?
50. Right. I am going to pull rank here, and we're going to start. I know we've introduced my jumper already. Can't beat a bit of bully. I think we've mentioned yours briefly, your Christmas jumper, Ian. Did we? Have we mentioned yours?
I don't think you have.
Yours is a Nordic knit, I believe.
Scandinavian knit, actually.
Scandinavian knit.
Classic Norwegian.
It is actually really nice. Where did you get it?
eBay. 20 quid. Nobody likes them in England. So it was cheap.
I like it. It's quite understated. Whilst mine is like, if it could actually instigate vomit. I think if you looked at it for too long, it's just a mishmash of really horrible stuff.
And colours.
The colourway is appalling, but there's a lot going on. You've got bully, you've got a dartboard, you've got some daisies.
Don't know what the daisies are there for.
And you've got all this sort of
And the
guns.
darts. And
the
Yeah,
darts.
and you've got the darts. Pete, you've gone for a classic.
I have.
You've gone classic crisps. He's gone classic Christmas jumper. So what we
I'm
got?
not sure
We got Rudolph.
I'm not sure this is classic. I mean,
Rudolph and Merry Christmas. Rudolph in a Santa hat. I mean, I must thank my my children for this from a couple of years ago. So it's
Well, it's weather. It's lasted well.
well, considering I wear it every month, it's yeah.
is it a Primark special?
I think it might be. I couldn't. Yeah.
It has that kind of look.
check,
The furry reindeer face.
The fur and you can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like your taste in Christmas jumpers. I also like your taste in, if we could have a look behind us, for those listening, our prop today is one of Pete Alfano's builds, his frame builds. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Pete, and the fact that he can piece together a very good steed.
Out of bits of steel.
Yeah.
Yes, not random bits of steel. To be
Yeah.
fair, they are tubing provided by reputable cycling manufacturers.
Small print, doesn't matter. So Pete, how did you get into frame building?
I was an archaeologist by training. Worked at university. Had a variety of different university-based roles, and had got back into cycling in my kind of late 20s. Was searching for a kind of thing to do. Went to learn to build one bicycle down in Kent at a place called Downland Cycles, and fell in love with it. And from there, I just sort of was bitten by the bug and spent 18 months trekking from Leicester down to Kent to spend most weekends building frames, learning from kind of master frame builder, and went from there. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you've been building them for, you say, your late 20s. How old are you now? If that's not a rude question.
I am 43.
Okay. So you've been building them for...
It's been about, I guess by the time I trained, it's been probably near we're getting to almost a decade.
Right.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. And I mean, over that course, I mean, I mean, obviously we're an ultra podcast, and I know you've built frames specifically for some ultra riders. Would you say that is your, don't want to say niche, but your specialty maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think my focus is on my passion is for interesting projects. I like a project that I can work with a customer, with a rider, on something that is unique to them, bespoke to them, and where I get the opportunity to be creative within that space. So they give me a set of criteria, and then we come up with a creative solution to the kind of the problem that they have. So yeah, for example, I can think of one ultra rider who's sitting not too far away from us, who has some fairly specific geometry requirements. And
I bet he's a nightmare to work with, isn't he?
Yeah.
I want that. No, you go out and start again, re-weld it.
what I'd like is it to fit a 50mm tyre. Okay, what are we putting it in? 2.4.
2.2. 2.2.
Yeah. And so the opportunity to work on those projects is really good. I'm a people person. I like the chat and I like the conversation, and I love being able to make a thing for somebody else to go and have adventures on. I think a bike is the perfect way to explore anywhere.
And that's the thing with bespoke frame building. You're not going to get rid of that, are you? Once it's made for you to do this particular thing on, I guess it becomes, yourself, if you've had a frame built for you. I've never personally had a frame built for me. I'm not important enough, apparently.
But Pete can make you feel special.
Pete's going to make me feel special.
Yeah.
When you've had that bike built for you, I guess that feels more than just like a material object. It must feel like, a real part of you.
Oh yeah, I mean,
if that doesn't sound cliched and ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if we talk a little bit about the frame that you built me, do you remember some of the specific requirements other than the big tire clearance?
The big tires, yeah. We were looking to accommodate your quite unique geometry in terms of position as you ride very far forward.
Because of my back injury, just to.
So yeah, these kind of physiological kind of requirements that each rider has are part of the challenge. So I think the bespoke frame offers the perfect opportunity to dial kind of the combination of comfortable position and handling.
Would you be able to, sorry to disrupt, intervene, whatever, would you be able to work out a frame for me, like a bike fit for me, as well as build the frame?
Yes, so as part of my offering, I'm a IBFI trained bike fitter, so I offer a bike fit service as a standalone, but also as part of the frame building process.
Okay, well that's really good. So if I was to come to you and said, right, I want this frame build, the first thing we'd start off with is with a bike fit?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is what you did not more than a couple of weeks ago with our previous guest, Inigo. So Inigo has requested a frame specifically for ultra cycling races.
Yes, so Inigo came up to see me, about 2-3 weeks ago, and we had a bike fit, working on his current fit from his favourite bike. It's always the easiest place to start.
Okay.
If you're particularly if you're not struggling with any kind of issues, and the bike he'd ridden for VIA, I believe, this year, and so he wants to go because of his goals for next year. We're looking at kind of helping him maximise the opportunity, maximise his potential for completing VIA as quickly as possible. So it's about thinking about tubing choices, geometries and things, making sure he's comfortable for those, multi-days on the bike. And so the bike fit is the kind of logical place to start.
Yeah, sure.
And once again, he's taken inspiration from another client of yours, Harry Johnson,
yes,
who's had a very specific bike frame.
Yeah.
So not only was Inigo inspired by Harry to do VIA, but he's also been inspired by Harry's performance, and he was 15th at VIA this year in Chapter 2, to get a steel frame from you, a bespoke one.
Yeah, so Harry came to me we had a conversation at the end of the first edition of VIA at the finishers party, talking about it. He'd not, at the Triumphal celebration.
It's not just for finishers.
Not just for finishers.
The great banquet of VIA.
Yes,
it was a great banquet. That Italian restaurant, incredible. And so Harry had not finished due to heat stroke, saddle sores, and turning up on
an incredibly aggressive,
wildly aggressive trek
with all the paint stripped off it. Yeah,
essentially like a crit. If you're picking a crit bike, perfect. but super stiff, giant carbon tubes, Madone, I think. And yeah, he got beaten up across Spain by the bike, essentially. Changed his saddle fairly early on, changed his saddle midway through the ride, had some horrific saddle sores, and then stopped. And so we talked about what could he do to, get a bike that helped him finish. And this year, we worked together on the bike and on the design. He was really open to suggestions and kind of thing. And
okay, so you offer suggestions rather than the rider feeding you with, I want this and this for this 4,000 kilometer ride or however 1,000 kilometer ride. So you would actually say, well, I think you might actually be better with this kind of material or this kind of geometry, or
it's a conversation.
Do you also suggest saddles and stuff like that?
I can do, yeah. So if people are having problems with saddles, we'll do some fit checks and things during the bike fit. We'll look at saddle fit. Essentially, go from cleats upwards.
Okay.
And work on everything from there. And yeah, the bike itself, the geometry, the setup is a conversation. And so what we're looking to do is have a conversation about what you need as a cyclist, and also thinking about what I can provide in terms of information, and then coming to managing the expectation, because you might want a bike that weighs 7 kilos or 6 kilos and you want to be super comfortable. Those two things aren't necessarily compatible. It's the fast, good, cheap challenge,
Yeah.
You can pick two.
Yeah. And I think, especially with Harry, step one was, don't take a crit bike to a 4,000 kilometer ultra race. Think about more the comfort, and comfort is absolutely king in any sort of ultra cycling event. And you have 3 values, don't you, which you talk about all the time, especially.
Yeah, so I talk about this ride, rugged and innovative. And so what I'm looking, I want you to be able to ride as far and as fast as possible. And my belief is that riding a bike should be as hard as you want to make it. So if you want to go out and flog yourself, you can, but you should be as comfortable as you want to be doing that. If you just want to go for a gentle ride every day, you should be equally at home on the bike doing that. The bike should be rugged and reliable. And that's not necessarily about the surface. That's about the bike being being trustworthy, the machine being well built, and consideration going into all the components that are attached to the bike. And then innovative, because I'm interested in solving the problems that those specific riders face.
And I think it's fair to say that Harry found that your bike the bike you built him was 100% reliable. I think throughout all the events he did this year, he didn't change his setup, and he doesn't want to change it for next year's, because he had 0 issues through all the component choices, but also the frame that you built.
Yeah.
What was the frame built out of?
It is a Columbus tubing frame, Columbus tubing, and a Columbus fork as well. So we went integrated internal routing with their new Tritico fork.
Okay, so you suggest internal routing, would you, even though it's not the most sort of serviceable?
The full internal routing was Harry's request. My preference would be for partial internal routing, so I would avoid routing through the headset traditionally and just go in at the top of the down tube.
Sure.
As per most kind of sort of 3 or 4 years ago bikes.
Yeah.
I just think that in terms of ease of service and maintainability and repairability when you're on the road, if you have a problem, you need to replace a hose, it's much easier to turn up at a bike shop and then not have to take the entire front end of the bike apart.
Yeah. Right. It might be, a bit of a generalisation here, but I'm going to do my best to get this out of you anyway. For a long road ultra, what does the perfect bike look like?
The one behind you. No.
Which is a what?
Nearly.
Yeah, it's it's got a lot of fairings.
Yes. So, I mean, there would be some adaptations to that.
This bike behind you, can you just tell us how this came about? Because it looks pretty special, and I think for most people they'd be saying, is this carbon or what's this made out of?
By the way, if you're just listening, go to Going Long Adventure on YouTube and you can see exactly what we're talking about. It's behind my big head with my stupid jumper on it. But yeah.
Yeah, I should say you can also see it on the Bespoked website, because it won a prize at Bespoked in Manchester this year for best paint job as well.
Okay.
So the Dazzle Camo,
Yeah.
won a prize, which is always nice. It was designed to be, it's an iteration, it's volume 2 of my personal time trial bike, and an iteration on my original, one of the first bikes I built, essentially.
So, I mean, you could go long distances on this thing.
Yes, yeah. So it's designed, my preference, when I first got into racing, I was racing a lot of triathlon and sort of middle distance triathlon and longer distance time trials. 50 mile TT has always been my favourite. So yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking about, 50 and 100 mile TTs on this.
Would you be happy to cycle 1,000k on that?
Yeah, with a couple of little tweaks, I think, to position.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah,
Right.
it would be serviceable for
Okay.
1,000k.
Well, let's talk about your thinking behind this bike.
Good fit was the primary purpose with this. So a good aero fit that I could maintain.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key for a good quality aero fit is having a position that you can maintain. There's no point in being super aero if you're constantly shifting about on the bike.
Yeah.
So either bar to saddle to bar drop on there is pretty minimal. So you're nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
It is.
Armrests are about as high as your saddle.
Yes, yeah, we're pretty level. So you're nice and comfortable. You're not asking your back to do too much work. Yeah, like I say, the only thing I would change probably is I'd probably put drop bars on it for 1,000k, just because I think you benefit from those extra positions. Ideally, you'd be riding in the aero bars. You know, you're going to be riding in the aero bars for the majority of the time. Depends partly on how hilly the course is. Or the route you follow.
Sorry to interrupt a minute. Ian, how often, like, say you're doing 1,000k, how, I don't know, it might be hard for you to specify, but what percentage of the time are you in the aero bars?
I'd say probably 90%.
Oh, right.
90%. And the exceptions where I would not be in aero bars would be the really steep hills, up or down.
Right.
Other than
That's
that, you know, very bendy parkour, or maybe it's riding through a city, very busy city, you know, with a lot of traffic where
You've got a bit more control.
yeah, you need to be on the brakes. You know, if somebody pops out the side road in front of you, you've got to be able to be ready to stop. So otherwise, you'd be riding in some very comfortable armrests, and you'd be doing that 90% of the time to take the pressure off your hands. Otherwise, you end up with injuries like Inigo. You know, 2,500 kilometers, no aero bars. Now he's had nerve damage. You need to be able to sustain position for the duration, essentially.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then from there, this build, I was focused on tubing that could make the bike nice and stiff. So I'm a heavy guy, 5 kilos.
Liking him more and more.
Heavier than you, Steve.
And you know, I'm a big bloke. I'm 6'4", and so I put a decent amount of power through the bottom bracket. So I went with some nice chunky chainstays.
Yeah.
And the tube are fairly, you know, wider diameter tubing, stiffer frame.
What is this build made from, though?
This build is Columbus Life tubing, and then it's a carbon Columbus fork.
Okay.
And I went with rim brake because, well, partly because
You love rim brakes.
I love rim brakes, but also they are more aerodynamic than disc brakes.
Yeah. Would you use those on a longer ride, though?
I have done previously. I would change the wheels for a longer ride. I wouldn't ride carbon rims for 1,000k rim. I wouldn't ride rim brake carbon rims for 1,000 kilometers.
Would you ride them in the wets? Fully loaded.
No. Well, this is the thing. So in the wet, fully loaded, if you're going rim brake, you want alloy rims because it's nice to be able to actually come to a stop rather than just have the suggestion of stopping.
Yeah. Oh, let's have a think about whether, you know, we've got a braking distance of a couple of miles or something.
Yeah, well, it's very much like that in the wet.
And do I need to unclip and drag my shoes along the ground to affect any proper
How
brownie.
soft is that grass verge? It's definitely a thought I have had once or twice.
Or hedge, will that hurt less if I throw myself into it?
Yeah. I think disc brakes have rim brakes have their benefits. Disc brakes have their benefits. I think for a fully loaded ultra race, you want disc brakes.
But this is purely for aero
This
reasons.
is purely for this bike is purely for time trialing.
Right.
So stopping is really a thing you want to do as little as possible, and so it's really designed for slowing down when you come to the roundabout at the end of the out and back course to enable you to go around the roundabout to cycle back the way you came.
Okay. Sorry, the tubing is what? Sorry, can you say again?
Columbus Life.
Okay, and what's the reason that's been spec'd?
It's a nice balance of weight and cost, and Columbus do a nice set of down tube shapes. So if you look, the down tube is a teardrop shape, so slightly more aerodynamic. The head tube is tapered, so you've got zero stack bearings for the headset. And so, the Columbus tubing just offers a nice, and an opposed oval on the top tube. So it's actually wider at the front than in the oval is horizontal at the head tube end, and then twists to vertical at the seat tube end, which adds some stiffness to the front end.
Yeah, looking at it, it is very nice. These tubes, I wouldn't say have very much effect on aero, do they? They do look very pretty, though.
They are very pretty. I would say that aero, my argument with these things has always been that I am the least aerodynamic thing on any bicycle is the person riding it, and you can save. Like, I think it's like 8 watts with aero socks of the right length if they fit you properly in overshoes. And there's
Watts is a lot.
You probably wouldn't even save 0.8 of a watt with both those tubes being slightly shaped.
No, you would. Yeah, you save so much more. You can save so many more watts by focusing on your position and the kit that you choose to wear, rather than worrying about the bike that's under you.
And the position that you hold on the bike as well.
Because there's, you only have to turn up at I'm sorry, triathletes, I really am.
No, he's not.
Having been one and I loved racing triathlon. I really enjoyed a variety of training, but the bike handling, there are some
cycling proficiency tests needed, I think.
And I think also when you get to a hill, so everyone would be in their aero bars, get out, cross the transition, straight into aero bars on the flat bit. They get to a hill, they're all out of the aero bars and sat up, and well, what's the point? And then they're tired and they can't hold a position, and so they're sat up and they've spent, 10,000-12,000 pounds on a super aero bike that sort of fits them.
They're sit up and beg.
Pointy hats, disc wheel, deep section front wheel,
skin suit.
Yeah, all of that.
And they're sat up riding up a hill, or they're sat up, or they're fidgeting constantly because their position is too aggressive for them to hold. Whereas if they'd been like 20% less aerodynamic in the position, they'd have held it for the entire ride, and they'd have saved themselves minutes.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the cycling industry is really good at selling you aero kit, particularly for your bike frame. But actually, the aero kit you need is, like you're saying, is kit. It's your position, it's your helmet, it's your choices of those sorts of things that make the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I remember coming across the triathlon in the lakes just north of Swindon, and I was on my full sus mountain bike.
Please don't tell me you went past
with aero bars, and I was passing guys on the full tri bike, carbon disc, the classic. Past them all, and it was just like, hi, bye.
The thing is, I think most, that's a bit of a generalization again, but I think a lot of triathletes, they're more focused on the run.
It was always my favourite bit.
Oh, really? So I think, that's, well, especially for an Ironman, that's arguably going to be the hardest bit, because comes at the end and it's 26 miles of hell after 12 miles of riding.
Where you can lose or gain the most places generally in a triathlon is if you're a strong runner, you will make up a lot of places, because percentage-wise, there's not so much you can gain across, like, I mean, in an Ironman, there's more time you can gain. Obviously, the bike leg is longer, but the amount of time you gain is kind of fairly minimal because of the downhills and stuff where everyone's, if they're holding position, is going approximately the same speed.
Yeah, sure.
It's the it's the run that makes the difference.
I thought the strategy had changed on Ironman, where a lot of ex-pro cyclists, like Cameron Wurf and quite a few of those kind of guys, would turn up to an Ironman and just absolutely annihilate the bike and
cling on for the run, but they won't be winning. Those guys will finish.
They were finishing like top 5
Yeah.
without any sort of talent, as I understood it, about running or swimming, and just being aero and powerful on the bike.
And their times are incredible. You know, they're smashing bike records.
Oh yeah, like
by minute,
4-hour bikes for doing 112 miles. So.
Yeah. Well, you look at the Brownlees. I know they don't do Ironman distance, but they are very, very strong riders. No, they're 6 watts per kilo. I mean, that's pretty strong for a pro cyclist, let alone somebody that's mixing up disciplines. So, we've got the frame, so that's been spec'd for comfort, cost.
Yeah, a mixture of comfort, cost, and appearance as well. So obviously, the fairings on there are all stainless steel and silver soldered on, and they are partly for aero gain, the closing off the gap between the seat tube and the rear wheel as the aerodynamic benefits. But they're also kind of a nod to the sort of the appearance of aero. They give you it looks more like time trial bike this way, and then the rest of the kit is picked to.
Would you add this fairings? Would you add these fairings to something that you go super long on, like a 1000k, or would it be superfluous? Sorry, I've had to speak for a while. Don't go away.
It would be kind of superfluous.
Yeah.
I think they'd.
But what sort of weight are we adding for like the head tube fairing?
Not loads. It's
50 grams,
half a
100
mil stainless steel, so it's very thin.
So if I
what sort of weight are we talking?
Maybe all of the fairings together, probably a couple of 100 grams, maybe 400 grams at most.
Would you? So if I came to you and said, "Listen, I want to ride 2,500 kilometers in July," which is the plan. I want to do it in comfort. I also want to move quite briskly when I can on the flats. I don't want the bike to break in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think anybody wants their bike to break in any shape.
If not, I'm holding you solely accountable. This podcast will be scratched from the annals of time.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to me? What's the first thing you're going to do?
First thing I'm going to do is a bike fit.
Right.
So the first thing is we find your position. We look at your position on your current bike. We talk about how much riding you're doing currently and how much riding you're planning on doing. What's your event distance planned? What's the training plan looking like?
Yeah.
And we'd look to make a position on the bike that would give you some room for improvement. So as you're riding more, as you're following your, I'm sure, incredibly intensive and well-structured training plan.
Disciplined.
That's the word.
Focused.
That's the word I was looking for.
Focus did not come into it. Discipline. Steve.
Yeah, can of worms now. I've never had a bike fit.
Oh. Yeah, I mean...
Does that make me even more idiotic than ever?
No, I don't think... Do you have any pain when you ride?
No.
Well, then...
Yeah, that's why I haven't done it.
Yeah. No, and I think that there will be improvements, potentially, you can find in having a bike fit. A lot of the time...
I think the only thing that hurts when I've been riding for a long time are my...
Your legs?
Yeah.
No, my head. My head and my traps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
would be a potentially a reach or a drop issue.
Right.
So we might look at bringing you up slightly at the front end, thinking about... we'd be looking at, the side-on profile view of you on the bike, looking at how your neck sits when you're riding the bike, and thinking about as well any exercises that you might be doing off the bike that could also, improve core strength or kind of upper body strength. I think it would be fair to say that all of you all cyclists could benefit from core and upper body work, alongside.
Is this something you prescribe as well, informally?
Informally, yes, absolutely. And it's definitely something that when I was being really disciplined and good, and I was undertaking those exercises on a regular basis, there was a noticeable improvement in my cycling performance and my enjoyment of riding as much as anything else, rather than just worrying about going faster. My enjoyment was greater because I was in less discomfort the following day.
Sure, yeah.
I think it's an interesting question that you posed to Pete, Steve, that, am I an idiot for not having a bike fit? If you're not in a huge amount of pain and it's not disabling you, I don't think you are an idiot for not having one. I mean,
that's the nicest thing you have ever said to me.
That's the nicest thing I will ever say to you, Steve. But I had my first bike fit 23 years ago.
Look, were you in pain prior to
popped
that?
kettle.
Were you in pain?
No. I had just got into cycling and I really wanted to do better. Somebody had suggested a bike fit and I had the hunger and I had the money as well. It wasn't cheap back in those days. I think it cost me 100 quid. That's quite a lot of money nowadays. It's about £1 million now.
It costs more than that, wouldn't it, nowadays?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it bloody would. Not doing that for 100 quid.
Don't get out of bed, son.
And over the years, I adjusted my position. I changed bikes. I tried different disciplines of bikes. And I think the lesson I learned, the rule that I remember is don't change your position too much. If you're going to change the length of your stem or the side of your saddle, do it incrementally over time and see what you can adapt to. Otherwise, you're asking for injury. But you don't need a bike fit just to ride a bike. But then again, if you're going to spend some money on a bespoke bike, then I think you should go for a bike fit in order to make sure that...
Yeah, I mean, without doubt, I do that. If I'm going to the cost and the trouble of getting a bike specifically fitted to me, I would go for a bike fit.
Yeah, and I would say that I do totally agree with you there. If you're changing a thing, I would say change it incrementally, but also change one thing at a time, because otherwise you don't know which ones affect. You change saddle height and stem length, you've got some back pain. Which one is it? Who knows? Until you put one back, you can't figure out which one it is. What I would say is the bike fit will give you a guide, and then there is an iterative process. So as you ride more, you become naturally more accustomed to being on the bike, so your position can become slightly more aggressive. You might decide that you want to do shorter distances, race more intensely, so crit racing. And for that, you can be in a more aggressive position that you might not be able to hold for longer than 2 hours. But if you're only racing for 45 minutes, doesn't matter. And so your position would differ on your normal everyday bike to your crit bike would be more aggressive. And it's about the conversation. For me, it's always about the conversation between me as the bike fitter and you as the rider. And I've got the knowledge about what will work and what should work. It's about what your body is capable of doing and making sure that you're able to hold that position. And there are idealized numbers around angles for hips and knees and things like that. But depending on your injury history, you might not be able to hold those.
I haven't had any injuries.
No. Well, then perfect bike riding position for you.
Yeah.
Textbook all the way.
Yeah.
Tadej Pogacar-esque.
There are some people who are less flexible than others. Some people who do more core strength. A bike fit could well help.
Okay, so we've gone past bike fit. Now we're looking at...
this is where we have a conversation about budget. So
right.
This is where we talk about two things.
Can you mortgage your house?
Yeah.
So
but I think that's a myth, though.
So I've got 50 quid sitting in the bank that needs taking care of. Like,
we'll have a lovely coffee and a conversation, and I'll give you some information.
And you can have half a bike fit.
Yeah.
Well, you can have one leg fitted to a bike.
No, he'll make you an offer you cannot refuse.
We're going to wake up with a horse's head in my bed.
Just a headset.
A headset in your bed.
Yeah.
On the pillow next to you.
Yeah. Yes. A disemboweled Chris King headset just laying out on the...
bleeding with red rust.
I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it to arrive. Yes.
Yeah, so then we'd have a chat about.
I'll pop it on eBay once I've.
Yeah. Once we've got it all laid out for you, then you can start. As long as you put it back in the right order, you'd be fine. Yeah.
So you'd have a conversation about budget.
Yeah, we'd have a chat about budget and what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what's low end, what's mid end, what's high end.
So essentially, the way it works, the way I approach it is I offer kind of three sort of tiers. So the more
the higher it is, the more tiers you right.
Exactly. Yeah. The more tears you will shed, which will make you lighter and faster.
But you're getting dehydrated, as you said earlier.
Yeah. So, it's a balancing game. It's a balancing game, Steve. So if you want to go in at the top end, we're saying stainless. So if you want a stainless steel bike, that's silver soldering. It's more work. The tubing is harder to work with.
Is tubing more expensive?
Tubing is significantly more expensive. And is...
Where do you get your raw materials from?
So I will source them either from Reynolds, who are based in...
He's down to the local scrap.
A scaffolder down the end of the road. Yeah, a bit of chrome pack. Reynolds in Birmingham do excellent tubing and have done for over 100 years now. And then Columbus, who are an Italian, tubing manufacturer who've had a similarly storied history of tube production, bicycle manufacture. So
how do those parts? I'm a complete Luddite when it comes to how do those parts arrive? Do you order certain lengths or?
Yeah, so depending on your choice, based on your budget, we'll pick from certain. They offer different ranges. The rule of thumb is the lighter and thinner the tubing, the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah.
Stainless steel will never rust, so stainless steel tubing is going to cost more. It's harder to work.
And the second tier, when I'm only crying twice?
You're sort of sobbing quietly. Is I'd say Reynolds 853, Columbus Spirit, you're in that sort of, that ballpark there. That's the really high quality, lightweight tubing. Will require paint. You couldn't ride a raw frame.
Okay, so talking about the stainless tubing, if Steve went for that and money was no object, let's say for the ideal
one can but dream,
the ideal ultra endurance bike, what would you spec for him if he just took all your advice and said, yes,
I would say, so you'd be looking at Columbus, a mixture of either Columbus XCR or Reynolds 931, depending on. That's partly on preference, partly on tubing diameter choices and appearance, but they're very, similar qualities. Disc brakes.
Hydraulic or cable?
Well, it's a difficult one. Hydraulic, I would go with hydraulic just because with road group sets now, you'd be really struggling to run a top tier disc brake group set with non-hydraulic, with mechanical discs. Okay. You'd struggle. And so you'd be, bottle cages, 35 mil tires probably, 35 maybe 40 mil give you the clearance. If you had clearance for 40s, you could run 35s and mudguards.
Yeah.
So we are talking road here, just
if we're running
35.
I'm going to get on to off-roading in a bit, but
if we're aiming for road, you'd be looking, I'd say 35s to 40s.
And what group sets?
Well, Campagnolo. I would love to recommend your group sets, but I haven't ridden them yet. I have the new.
I have.
Yeah.
And I've ridden SRAM, and I've ridden
the new Campag.
Oh no,
the new Super Record.
The new we saw the Super Record at Rouleur.
I've read about it.
It's dreamy.
I've edited a piece about it in a magazine.
Okay,
it was rather expensive.
But you didn't write anything about it. You didn't test it.
Not yet. I'm sure.
So when we saw it,
do they not let you test?
They won't let me near any of the expensive stuff. I would say keep him out.
I think that applies to everybody and everything. Just don't let him touch anything.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised you're letting me so close to your bike, actually, Pete.
This is the man with the broken phone and the broken laptop. Yeah. Let's move on to technology.
I've got good liability insurance.
Okay, good.
So Campag,
Yeah, the
Super
new
Record.
Super Record Adventure, I believe it's called, offers like a 1048 cassette.
Any preference for wheels?
No, I think that now, as it currently stands, you can buy most carbon wheel sets, disc brake carbon wheel sets, of extremely good quality, I think. I've got a very good relationship with Rolf. I like their stuff. I like their funky spoke patterns are nice. But equally, like more locally, Parkour. I run a set of Parkour wheels and have had a few customers purchase those, and they've been bulletproof.
Do you provide the finishing kit?
Yes, if that's what. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want a full build or just a frame and forks,
Right.
you can pick really. And then it's I've got accounts with all those guys, so yeah, I'm able to offer all that stuff.
I think you've had scribes as well.
Yeah, I've had scribes. I've had some hand-built wheels. So yeah, Mavic rims on like Hope hubs. Yeah, it depends on budget. I think I always say to people, I can give you quite clear costings on the frame, and then in terms of kit,
Everything else.
sky's
the limit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You can spend as much as you wish. If you want to spend £10,000 on a set of wheels, I can find you a £10,000 set of wheels.
I don't personally think it's necessary to spend £10,000 on all.
Nor do I.
I mean, I think all the news nowadays is why did the bike industry go down the carbon spoke route when I'm not sure I'd ever want to ride carbon spokes off road, not till they're very, very well tested.
I ever went down the £10,000 for a pair of wheels route.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
it's
ridiculous.
It's way out of most people's budgets, especially mine. And
I think most people's, yeah.
I've had custom wheels built by DCR, for example, down in Sussex in Lewes, and I keep going back because the quality of the build is so good. It's not about how expensive all the components are. It's these specialist wheel builders who they tension them properly. I think you also know these, don't you?
I also, I will build the wheels. I build my own wheels.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's one of my to be honest, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's an activity that I find extremely enjoyable. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yes.
And I think
truing the wheel.
The opposite to the high quality custom build is the factory built nightmares that we used to hear about. Planet X wheels just exploding all the time. There are other brands which we won't name.
There are other brands
which you encounter quite a few the same wheels over and over again. Yeah. And I think that's where reliability and experience counts.
Yeah, I think there are good manufacturers out there, big brands who do make very good quality wheel sets.
And also small brands.
And also small brands who make good quality wheels. But yeah, it's worth shopping about. And I think that's one of those where I'd say, if you're going to a bike shop, have a conversation with people, talk to people you ride with.
I think one of my favourite conversations with my bike shop, my local bike shop, Mitchell's in Swindon, is I've seen this deal. Do you have many of these in? And it might be rear mech, it might be a wheel or a component. And they'll say, yes, we get these in all the time. And this is the problem with them. This is why you should be friends with your local bike shop. And, the mechanic from there is one of my best friends. We've become really good friends. And they dish out this advice and they say, yeah, it will fail here because. And that's a very, very good reason to avoid this when they've seen so many of the same component fail in the same scenario.
All right. Coming back down to earth in terms of pricing. If I wanted the cheaper build, so we've got the stainless steel, then the Reynolds, what was it?
853.
853.
And then the Reynolds 631.
631.
Kind of, that would be the more entry-level road bike, gravel bike kind of builds.
What kind of compromises are you having to
It's weight, essentially.
Right.
The compromise is in the weight of the tubing. So tubes are thicker, so they're heavier. They're not, Reynolds are not, 631 is not heat treated, so it's not quite so hard. Which is what adds, so they can have thinner tubing in 853 because it's heat treated. It's harder. They can have thinner walls on tubes, so they weigh less.
Okay, right.
And a slightly restricted choice of tubing diameters. So you're looking more kind of classic road bike lines in terms of tube diameters, rather than the kind of slightly bigger stuff that you'd see on sort of more modern steel bikes.
Okay. And would you be able to fashion together a bike, I'm sure you would, depending on tyre clearance, that I could use both in a 1,000 kilometre road ultra and a 500 kilometre off-road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'd be, in terms of, once your fit's done, if you ran drop bars on both, then yeah, there'd be no reason why not.
Right. Okay.
In terms of thinking about the fit for the front end, if you turned it to a flat bar, we'd just need to look at adjusting, adjusting around that. But yeah, otherwise, there's no reason why you couldn't ride the same bike for both.
Sure.
Yeah, I think all Pete's demonstrated is the versatility of bikes, because as he designed for me a gravel bike, it eventually evolved into a quite a monster cross with 2.2-inch tyres. So that's what I rode in the Southern Divide, and I was very, very happy with that. And for the comfort, it's demonstrated both through, the fact that I was trying an FKT a week later when most people were absolutely hanging off the bike, especially JBK. And Harry had no complaints whatsoever after doing 4,000 kilometers at Via on your bike again. So I think, you can make virtually anything, can't you?
Yes, and it's about tubing choices, about geometry choices. It's about thinking about chainstay length and the overall length of the bike. It's all those kinds of. There's a lot of expertise that goes in before the
stays on this one are particularly
skinny, aren't they?
Skinny,
yeah.
They are, yeah. I wanted to see how skinny I could go. That was the experiment with this one. How thin could I make them? And kind of.
And what's the benefit of having skinny seat stays?
There is an argument that skinny seat stays give you more flexibility in the rear end. So in theory, a thinner seat stay will allow the rear wheel to flex up a little bit because the stay will flex more under pressure.
I think that goes back to the years of Cervelo.
Yeah.
The Cervelo test team.
Yeah, there's been some independent studies done that suggest it doesn't make a lot of difference. I would say, though, one of the advantages, they're very pretty.
Yeah, it is.
They are pretty.
It is a very pretty bike.
That's got to come into your considerations.
And so you were introduced, Pete, as a frame builder, but you're not just a frame builder. Your experience goes much broader and deeper with Ultra. So what other things have you done with Ultra cycling?
Other ultra cycling things. In the last year alone, I have taken part in Via for the second time. So I run the broom wagon at Via.
Yeah.
And I supported Dr. Sarah Ruggins on her Land's End to John O'Groats and back again record.
John O'Groats to Land's End.
Sorry.
Yeah. I got that wrong when I interviewed her. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is incredible, because to be a part of both of those things, Via and Sarah's world record, I mean, that must have been quite something to witness.
It was astonishing, like genuinely one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. There were moments where we were struggling. So we had two vehicles following her, and we had one vehicle behind her all the time for safety, and then we had a camper van where the other teams run like 12 hours on, 12 hours off, essentially, where the other team would be, and we'd try and leapfrog ahead. But there were moments where she was going so quickly, we were struggling to get far enough ahead of her to go and kind of carry out the kind of mundane things of like buying food and making sure we had kind of a chance to cook stuff, because the motorway veers off in the less direct route and she's on the A road going up the most direct route, doing 35k an hour, hill, flat, made no difference. It
just churned out the miles.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we got to the turnaround point and she'd had the fourth fastest one-way time. And she wasn't even trying for the half. She was measuring her effort to be able to go back. That's
pure. That's talent. That is. That's,
it was astonishing.
A real talent for endurance.
Yeah. We were, the bike. We had no punctures. There were no mechanicals. My job was as bike mechanic for the record.
Were you required?
No, every 4 hours she had 10 minutes off the bike, and in those 10 minutes I did a sort of a brief safety check service of the bike, so just make sure everything was still working. And she had a radio where through any problems she'd get in touch. The only problem we ever had was one of the batteries dropped a bit of charge quickly. Just switched it for another one.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
No punctures.
With electronic gears.
Yeah, so she was running axis, force axis.
Okay.
So and that's the position you really want to be in, isn't it? Is to not have anything to do.
No punctures was to ride the length of the country twice and have 0 punctures. I think the karma paid.
You must have been exhausted at the end of that. Because I guess you could do some sleeping in the van.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you weren't really off for 5 days. You know, we were sleeping, but we weren't ever off. You know, did sort of 2 or 3 hours here, 2 or 3 hours there, constantly doing. I was absolutely and emotionally just exhausted because you're worrying about this person.
Well, if you could, transfer that to me during VIA.
Yeah.
I'd like that kind of care, if possible.
Yeah, if you
just
can
follow me in the van.
Demonstrate, I'd say like a third of Sarah's legs, then I reckon you'd be going well.
Yeah.
You won't need my help.
I think if you pull alongside her and he's crying, what would you say to him?
Crying is a waste of water, Steve, and electrolytes as well, particularly.
But crying is it's just a good expression of sentiment, isn't it? You know, sometimes it's good to have a little cry.
Not 30k in, Steve.
No. Perhaps though, maybe that's the dehydration warning sign. Is when you stop crying, we know you've not drunk enough.
Possibly, just crying dry tears.
Now you've done 2 chapters of VIA and 1 world record. You are now an ultra mechanic.
Yes, I think so.
What things have you learned? What's the most important thing that you've learned from all these experiences? I mean, it gives you an edge over other frame builders when you're building bikes to see just how many bikes can come through. But what's the number one thing that you've learned?
I think one of the things is practice with your kit, trust your kit, have kit you can trust. VIA first edition, I attempted to, sadly unsuccessfully, repair some failed brakes at the top of a mountain, the highest point, I believe, in VIA Chapter 1.
Now that's what you call an acid test, isn't it? Away you go!
Yeah, so he'd come over the hiker bike.
To the top of Colle del Nivelle.
Yeah, to the top of the Nivelle.
2,300 metres.
High.
Yeah, it was. And then his brakes had failed. They'd been failing slowly over the previous days, and then he'd done a little bit of the descent and they just weren't working. So he'd made the sensible decision to phone me and stop at the top. It took me, I was in Torino, and I reckon it probably took me about 90 minutes to get there.
Right.
And that was 45 minutes to get to the bottom of the Nivelle, and then 45 minutes to drive to the top, up all the hairpins.
Right.
It was a glorious day, absolutely stupendous.
It was a heat wave as well.
Yeah, at the bottom of the mountain, it was the best part of 40 degrees. And at the top, it was like 15.
Really?
It was gorgeous. Like, you'd gone from the sweaty humidity of the Po Valley to the top of this Alp. And it was glorious. It was absolutely stunning. But he had a Chinese group set. I forget which.
L2, I believe it was.
And the brakes had failed, but the bleed system on them was, I had to download some instructions and have Google Translate help find the instructions. And it was the kind of thing where if you'd had Shimano brakes or another big brand,
SRAM.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have had the same problems, and they would have been a lot easier to repair, because these kind of things are, he couldn't have taken that to a bike shop, even if I'd been unavailable and he'd managed to walk down the mountain. He couldn't have gone to a bike shop and had that repaired, because no one's
heard of it.
Yeah, no one knows anything about it. So have kit you can trust, I think. And service, and be familiar with it. Learn some things before you go.
Okay, cool. Right, one last thing, guys. Let's have a Rate My Ride. So this is from Thomas Wrighton. He writes in, "Hi Team GLA, enjoying the podcast series. Here is my ride from the 2025 Solstice Sprint. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a picture of it here. My first ultra and a fellow 90k rider on a good day. Good man, Thomas. All the best people are 90 kgs or, striving to lose a couple of kilos. Thomas says, I rode a Cannondale Super 6 Evo with 56mm deep rims, tubeless 28mm tyres, which is quite narrow, I guess, with they were GP 5000s and a mechanical 105 group set. He says, I took a hooped bivvy, sleeping mat and down jacket to sleep in. And despite raiding through the heat wave, first day my Garmin gave an average temp of 28 degrees for 14 hours. I was still freezing when bivvying in a field near Bala. So any comments from you guys on Thomas's setup for the Solstice Sprint?
Well, personally, I wouldn't have taken a bivvy, but then the previous 2 years that I won it, 24 and 23, I rode it in about 40 hours. So there was no need to sleep.
Yeah, but we're not all Ian, are we? So, I mean, the fact that you took a bivvy and a sleeping mat and a down jacket.
It's probably wise for most people. I think a lot of people actually finished in under 48 hours this year.
Right.
Because it was flatter
by,
I think, 4,000 or 5,000 meters.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact that Thomas was still freezing during a heat wave suggests maybe his bivvy could be improved, or...
Yeah, I would say it's probably sweating. It's probably damp kit.
It's probably overexertion as well.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I know that I've had that on previous big rides where you stop to eat and you get cold because it's not cold, but all your kit is damp. You sat still, your body internal temperature's dropped, your core temperature started to drop a bit, and then you start off and you get cold from the wind. And similarly, like if you're stopped and your kit's damp, if you've got a dry, a merino top, it'll wick sweat better anyway.
Yeah, body temperature regulation's very hard when you're physically exhausted. So I would generally take a down jacket rather than just a bivvy. If it's just a bivvy without a sleeping bag, then yeah, maybe asking for getting a bit cold, maybe needing a hotel rather than just relying on the bivvy, even if it is a 28-degree heat wave, which is it's relatively hot for this country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Thomas says he completed it in 68 hours elapsed.
That's good.
Which is all right. 18 hours, 15 mins idle, which is similar to what I do, actually. I mean, I know, for example, your last Solstice Sprint, I mean, how much time were you idle? Probably none. Probably
you did have that afternoon tea. Was that the last one?
Yeah. I needed the toilet.
Yeah.
I said to him after that, how was it? He went, I burnt my mouth. The tea was too hot.
Trying to gulp it down, mate.
I was quite tired, and I had some mint tea or something, and I just put it in my mouth without even thinking, and I held it there, and then suddenly I thought, bloody hell, this is hot, and smashed it back out.
You will rush.
It was quite a fancy place as well, wasn't it? I think from the picture you sent me.
It was quite nice. It wasn't overly fancy, and I've got to say that after I finished Solstice Sprint that year, I couldn't sleep for a week because my mouth was
seriously
burned. Yeah, it's the worst injury I've ever had. Self-inflicted. Totally.
I wonder if you could have sort of stymied the extent of the injury by just gargling with ice water or something.
That didn't work. I had to put Bonjela over my mouth. Thanks, Saz, for that trip.
What I mean.
Top tip.
And Thomas's Cannondale Super 6 Evo, how would you rate that in terms of, I mean, how could that be improved? What would you do to that to make it a slightly more, I mean, because that seems like a pretty...
racy bike?
Yeah.
Racy setup.
Yeah.
I don't know how stiff it is. Maybe it's very stiff. Maybe,
relatively.
Maybe he'd benefit with a...
is quite a stiff frame. But yeah, I mean, the obvious is that Thomas needs a steel bike.
A bespoke steel bike.
A custom steel bike, yeah.
Made by Alfano frame.
Yes. Yeah, there are still builds, but we could probably squeeze you in before the next year's Solstice Sprint. I think that, probably, I think 28
mil tyres.
If you could, 28 mil tyres, pre-sensible. If you could get
wouldn't that be considered quite thin, quite narrow for nowadays? For
I think that's
modern riding.
I think
relatively.
I think it's very narrow for UK roads.
Yeah.
I mean, I ride 35 mils.
I ride 42s and stay on your wheel for at least 4 miles.
I'm not even sure it was that far.
They're knobbly.
But I would take 35s just for the worst roads that we have around here. So if you hit a pothole, especially tubeless, you're not going to suffer from a pinch puncture. The GP5000 ASTR, all seasons tubeless ready. I would ride just for the wet grip and the robust nature of it.
Okay, good tip, Ian. Cheers. And as far as mechanical group sets, I mean, obviously, what would you say there?
I would say that Shimano 105 mechanical is a great workhorse group set. Like it is, as long as it's well maintained, you shouldn't have any problems with it. The advantage, obviously, with going electronic is that it's kind of fit and forget. Once it's set up, it will hold, shifting positions and things. The added challenge, I suppose, not really a challenge, the added maintenance involved in a mechanical group set is just making sure that you're servicing it regularly, keeping the cable tension high, and it's useful to understand how the cable tension works in terms of shifting the derailleur, I always think, like just in case the gears slip. But if the bike's regularly maintained, it shouldn't be a
I
problem.
always forget which way to turn the barrel adjuster, so
You soon find out.
I know,
Yeah.
but I find it quite hard to rectify as well. It's like, am I really going to do this?
Pete can give you lessons afterwards. I mean, I think 105 is probably fine, but ever since I moved from DI2 to DI2 or electronic gears in general, I've not looked back. I've not wanted to own a mechanical group set since, and the rear mechs last a lot longer. I mean, just talking to my local bike shop, so they have DI2 rear mechs, which they're 10 years old, whereas your mechanical mech probably has a maximum of about 3 years of life. And that's after lots of replacing of different bits like springs. And it depends also on the conditions. We have some terrible conditions in this country, especially with salt and mud, the damp conditions. I have 11-speed DI2 rear mechs. I haven't moved to 12-speed. It's more cost, and my 11-speed stuff has just survived for more than 10 years now. So I think, depending on your budget, mechanical 105 would be fine, but my preference is 11-speed DIT.
Excellent. All right. Well, I hope that answers your question Well, thank you for the email, first and foremost, Thomas, and I hope that shed a bit more light on your bike, but it sounds like a very able steed as things stand, and well done on a great time on the Solstice Sprint. We hope to see you. Well, I may see you there next June. If not, we'll keep in touch and we'll see you somewhere else. Possibly.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, we're hoping to have a few, I think Inigo's hopefully racing the Solstice Sprint this year next year.
That's what he said, yeah. I think he wants to do well.
Solstice Sprint is a good prep for Via. So
I think Harry Johnson has said he wants to win.
Yes,
Solstice
he has.
Sprint. Isn't that what he told us?
Yeah.
Ruler?
well, I want to win it as well.
Well, it's just big.
You heard that here first.
Harry Johnson versus Stephen Shrubsall.
Stephen the Meal Deal Shrubsall. Where are my crisps?
Versus Inigo. Okay, yeah. Oh, yes. That reminds me. It's time. Put this back on, Steve.
Last thing for today. Sorry, we're running late. Crisp test.
It is the crisp test. I have bought some boutique crisps for you, Steve.
They better be boutique.
Here's
want-
the bowl. Hold out your hand. Here we go. Just take one.
Right out.
Just take one. Now, what's the brand? What's the flavour? And what's the rating? Don't take off the mask.
Walker's roast chicken. Next question.
Rating out of 10.
Never been a Walker's roast chicken fan. It's not something I'd go out and buy. But all the same, I mean, it's a very solid crisp. 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
6.5,
so
above average.
Would have been between 6 and 7 for
yeah.
roast chicken. Yeah, I'll go with that.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes another episode of Crisp Addicts Anonymous. Sorry, I butchered that one.
Crisp Addicts.
Crisp Addicts Anonymous.
Yes, just you, Steve. Just you.
And we will see you, or you will see us and hear us and listen to us next week. Thank you very much. Thanks, Pete, for joining us. That's been very educational.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Now, and I'll be in touch about my discounted frame, stainless steel. And thanks again, Ian.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
For your pearls of cycling related ultra cycling wisdom.
And the crisps, of course.
And the crisps, yeah. 6.5 though. Try a bit harder next time.
I don't know. There's no pleasing son.
There isn't.
There's no crisp that you haven't met which you don't like. Anyway.
Varying levels of deliciousness. Okay, guys. See you soon. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.